is when I'm going to blow up about this side. I really like
Okay, Sam, our class ends in 7 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
So whatever you need to do, bring it all together now.
Right there.
Bring it all together now.
Topic, the one that started with just
Topicality, then case. That's it.
Okay.
And we'll talk about why he didn't go for the disad later. Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if we're using, oh, hold on, let me get.
Please don't start.
Wait.
Okay.
All right, so we're going 8 minutes, right?
8 minutes.
All right. So if we're using their definition, they don't mean by their definition. They're saying that it talks about the territories itself. The United States is not. The territory of the U.S. and Mexico border is owned by both governments, the United States and the Mexican government, which means that they cannot solve. If they do solve, if we garnish this plan any solvency, it's only on the United States it's only on the United States side, which means they cannot spill over their solvency within Mexico, which means they're going to exacerbate the harms that the cartel causes. They're still not topical. Their topicality argument is like from some guy in '95. I was born in '95. It's like 20. That shit's old, right? There's no side on the that owns the border. There's nobody that owns this border, so this cannot be like the United States territory. If this case is not solved, is not able to solve within Mexico, that means it turns itself and it's not able to solve. You vote for the negative on this T-flow. There weren't counter voters on this T-flow, so you would have to vote. You have to use my voters, and yes, voters are reasons why you vote. You vote for my side because of fairness, limits, and topic-specific education. They have conceded that they do not bring topic-specific education to this round, which is the sole reason why the negative or why the affirmative loses. We're going to go back to the case flow, right? So look, Greenberg's 7 evidence talks about how like it fails to catch drug dealers, but they're specifying to the war on drugs, which is the domestic issue. They're not spilling over to, again, they're not solving within Mexico. I'm talking about how like these harms are specific to things that happen within Mexico. Like if you're looking at my Wiseman 2015 and my Tuckman 2015, that says that the border surveillance is critical to finding cartel members. This is not directly answered. They does not say that we can't find border members with this border surveillance. That means border surveillance is good and we can find cartel members. That's Wiseman 2015. I said that the cartel is more dangerous than ever, especially since El Chapo has escaped now and is revitalizing the cartel strength. There is no direct answer by the affirmative for this. This is my Tuckman 2015 evidence. This is the sole reason why you're going to vote negative right here. To extend these arguments, right? Revitalizing cartel will help ISIS smuggle weapons in. That's Sulin 2015. To fight illegal activities like illegal immigration, drugs, and now according to the FBI controlling the border would be an attractive region for ISIS to take in part of the powerful drug lords. Drugs that are headed to the streets of the United States in the future collaborate between terrorist groups and drug dealers on our side, to our side. What has been going on in Mexico creates an opportunity for an organization to try to take advantage of it, whether it's ISIS or Al Shabaab. This is racist, by the way. I don't agree with it. It makes sense for ISIS to do this. It has been a present problem in the whether it's outside.
You're terrible.
Next.
You just lost your own debate.
Surveillance is key to detection, thermal things. Belasanor 13. DHS has placed new surveillance technologies at the heart of the border control strategies. Along the U.S.-Mexico border, implemented with advanced lighting, motion sensors, remote cameras, and mobile surveillance systems, the DHS has deployed a fleet of unmanned aerials. Thermal detection sensors and other surveillance technologies may eventually incorporate a facial recognition system. The DHS has plans to both expand its fleet of drones, and the immigration reform proposal in Congress will significantly be built upon recent explanation. Basically what this card is saying is that the surveillance that we're using, the technology that we're developing on the border is very crucial. It's a very crucial aspect to the economic sector inside the, well it doesn't say economic sector, but it's very key to detection, right? Like they're coming up with new innovative things like the thermal technology that you can find people throughout heat and stuff like that, facial recognition, security systems, whatever. The border is key to keeping this surveillance there. Surveillance is key to enforce high standards for disease protection and enforcement. Moran et al. 2015. Et al. just means there's other people. Define that the United States-Mexico guidelines for coordinates of public health events and mutual interest, laboratory testing, standardizing protocol for each reportable disease, sharing of specimens or resurgence, coordinating disease surveillance, prevention, and control. 10 out of the 12 programs using a central database store epidemiological data that is participating country. 4 of the 12 programs have established standardized laboratory protocol for disease detection or surveillance. The main laboratory infrastructure includes the National Public Health Laboratories. Funding limitations for the procurement and transportation, lack of formal agreement, and importance and exportation. The most common funding source is the ministries of health and members of the community, members of countries. Multinational disease surveillance programs can strengthen global health security by promoting timely information exchange. We'll mark the card there. So we're talking about how like this surveillance is also key to preventing pandemics or stuff that comes over through like disease infested. Like there's different climates in here in Mexico. Like there's possibility for diseases. If people are coming over and we're not able to surveil them properly, we don't have any detection of what diseases they're bringing in, what are their records and stuff like that. Do they have their shots? Are they up to shots? This could cause a pandemic inside of the American states. This is what happens when you vote for the affirmative. Next card. Drones and border surveillance solve drug trafficking. That's Vogel 2015. Unmanned aircraft engage in both training missions and surveillance operations. They could be called upon by the state's government to assist disaster response. The agency funding the law enforcement, UVA unmanned vehicles, the FBI and the U.S. Customs may have the most active domestic operation. Rand Paul in July 2013 had used an unmanned aircraft in domestic operations 10 times since 2006. Drug indirections and fugitive investigations, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol have employed unmanned aircraft for border surveillance for several years. Local law enforcement agencies and nonprofit organizations to purchase UAS for testing and use. Went to law enforcement's UAV program. So this is saying like how like these drones are key. Like we're having drones that solve for this drug trafficking. If you go with the affirmative plans, we won't have these drones, we won't have this border protection anymore. You'll allow for drugs to infiltrate your country. Like we can't allow for this to happen inside of this like space right here, whatever we're doing. Next argument. Border surveillance and AUVs key to security thermal detection range, and that's Hadal and Gerter 2010. UAVs that could fill a gap in current border surveillance by improving coverage along the remote sections. UAVs can also provide precise and real-time imagery. Regarding the deployment of border patrol agents can be quickly. The ability of UAVs to loiter and prolonged periods of time is important operational advantage. The range of UAV is significantly asset and when compared to the border agents of patrol and stationary surveillance equipment. A stationary video equipment which often uses the borders on the rough terrain and defense foliage can be degraded to images provided by the UAV sensory imagery. So we're saying that like there's a human element here in the border surveillance that the drone is striking for. Humans don't have this technology inside of them. They don't have all these things that they can do. These drones are key to surveying our border, and the border is key to protecting ourselves. I think that's it, y'all.